everyone, my name is Emily. My name's Amanda. Welcome to our channel, Gale Force Twins. Today, we are going to teach you how to back a boat into a slip. Yes, so one of those slips, we're not talking when you pull up next to it, when you pull into it, we're talking about backing your boat in between a slip when you've got 4 pilings. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna be backing our boat into a slip. Now this boat, this is a 32 Intrepid. We have twin 250s and we are going to use our twin motors to our advantage. We're going to have one in forward, one in reverse. We're going to be using the wheel if we need to, and we are going to show you all the steps to backing your boat perfectly into a slip. 2 conditions you have to be thinking about at all times. Number 1 is current and number 2 is wind. One good way to find the current is to look at a piling. Show them a piling, Amanda. Okay, so let's look at these pilings right here. Depending on the direction of the waves depends on the current. It looks like the current is traveling in this direction. Honestly, there's not a lot of current today. It looks like there's not a lot of current today, but the current is traveling in this direction a little bit. We might be at a slack tide, but the second condition is wind. Let's go ahead and look at these flags. Right here, take a look at those flags. You can clearly see the wind is going to be pushing us down the canal. We know that with our wind and our current, everything is going to be pushing us down the canal. That is really important to think about before you back into your slip, because that tells me that I need to start turning my boat before my slip. If I do it after my slip, I'm gonna pass it. The wind's gonna push me past my slip. If for some reason the wind and current are going the opposite direction, I'm going to want to pass my slip and let the wind and current push me into my slip. So depending on the direction of the wind and the current, really is going to depend when you want to start setting up for your docking. Do you want to set up before your slip? Do you want to set up after your slip? Do you want to set up straight in front of your slip? You need to think about these things before you back your boat up, because wind and current will be a factor. For the most part, guys, to make my initial move when it comes to backing into a slip, I like to drive my boat basically as if I am making a 3-point turn backing into a parking spot. So I pull forward and back up, and that's what I'm going to do. And then once I get myself a little bit more turned, then I'll probably not touch my wheel so much and just focus on the motors. As we get closer to our slip, I'm going in and out of gear, and one motor at a time. If you have one motor, then you'll just use your one motor. I'm trying not to go too fast, guys. I'm trying to control myself, go nice and slow. So that way when I get to my slip, I'm not like, my momentum's not going to push me way past it. So just like this, we have one motor in and out of gear to carry us to the slip nice and slow, so that once we get there we can slow the boat down by even putting both motors in reverse. That can help us stop our momentum going before we back into our slip. We have some construction in our canal. Check that out. It looks like they're putting some extra pilings in, so we apologize if there's any loud construction noises today. Something I do want to point out that's important is when I say stop the boat, I literally mean stop the boat. So that might mean bump it into reverse. Get the boat to stop. Putting it in neutral is not stopping it, guys. There's no brakes on this. Your brake is reverse. It's not a car. We don't hit the brake pedal. Okay, so guys, Amanda, let's show them where the slip is. Our slip is right next to that sailboat, and what we are going to do with the wind and current pushing us towards our slip, we are going to begin making our 3-point turn before the slip. So the first thing Emily is going to do is she's going to turn her wheel, and she's going to use her outside motor on this turn in forward to make this turn. Something I want to point out is if you want some extra, more of an exaggerated turn, only use one motor. If I use both motors, the turn would be wider. This will make for by only using her outside motor. So now she's going to doing the backwards part of the 3-point turn. Her outside motor is in reverse, and that's going to make our turn sharper. Now I'm going to bump them both in reverse, give myself a little bit of juice, speed it up, because I don't want that wind to catch my bow and start to take over. So she's letting her momentum carry her. She is in neutral. This is not our slip. That is our slip. And what we're doing is we know the wind is going to carry us, so that's why we made our turn here. Now she's turning her wheel again to carry herself forward, using her outside motor in forward to just turn her boat in this direction so that she can angle perfectly back into the slip. One thing that I want to point out, guys, is that the wind will catch the bow quicker than it'll catch your transom. So that's why I have my bow actually facing a little bit the other direction. Her bow is facing into the wind because she knows that the wind will catch her bow and pull her this way. So now Emily is using her wheel and one motor or two motors at a time depending on her turn. Here she is. We are backing up into the slip. Which motors? Now both motors are in reverse, pulling us backwards, and she's just driving the boat back into the slip with both motors this time. Just like that. I'm in neutral, guys, letting my momentum carry me. As I start to hit this concrete wall, I'm going to bump it in forward, just one motor in forward, keep ourselves from hitting that wall. And Amanda, you ready to grab some dock lines? I'm ready to grab some dock lines.
Grab some dock
grabbing
lines.
one at a time to bump herself in forward and stop the boat. This time we had to stop the boat by putting the motors in forward, not reverse. That's how we stopped the boat this time because our momentum was carrying us in reverse. So we stopped the boat by putting the motors in forward, not neutral, all the way into forward. Just bump them in forward and make sure the boat stops. We are not tied off. Emily is just holding us in position, one motor at a time, giving her deckhand, aka me, a chance to grab the lines. Because of the design of our slip and our boat, the first line I always grab is the spring line. Typically you do want to grab your bow lines first, but with the way our boat is set up, the spring line is actually more important for us. This spring line, what it does is it is going to stop us from hitting the concrete dock. So now we know we're not going to hit the concrete dock, and all I have to do is grab the rest of the lines to keep myself in the center of our slip. The next lines I grab are my stern lines. The first stern line I like to grab is the one that keeps me close to the dock so that I don't drift away from it and then can't reach my second stern line.
And we also want to be respectful to our fellow boaters in the other slips.
Right.
So we don't want to be swinging into them.
Very important that I grab this stern line first because I know it's going to keep me tight to my dock and stop me from swinging out into this sailboat. The last stern line I grab, or the second stern line, is the one that keeps me off of the dock so that I'm not constantly bumping into the dock, ruining my rub rail, ruining my boat wrap.
Amanda's got the stern lines on, and you guys, we don't even have our bow lines on yet because for our slip, what the bow lines do is they just keep us from rubbing up against the pilings. So these are the last lines that we do because they're the least important for our situation. I'm going to grab this bow line, tie it off.
I'm just going to give us a push off this piling so that we can grab the second bow line.
I'm going to grab the second bow line over here. Second bow line, Amanda.
Got it.
Notice how the black bow line is going to keep us off the piling on our left right here. We're not going to be rubbing up against it. And the blue dock line, or bow line, is going to keep us off the right side piling. And you can see we have it set up nicely. On our blue dock line, we actually have a piece of electrical tape. Here's the electrical tape. We put that there for personal reasons, so we know where we like to tie it off. And once that one's tied off, it's pretty easy to just tie the black one off to keep us off of the pilings.
I am going to show you how to properly tie off to a cleat to make sure that it's nice and secure and doesn't slip. First, I'm going to get around the cleat at a spot that I think that it needs to be at for the boat. And these are called half hitches, just going around the cleat. Now, to secure it, we are going to rotate the line and do a half hitch like that. The way you know it's secure is you have two lines with each other going under your top line. So let's do this one more time. Around the cleat, half hitch, half hitch. Now show them the incorrect way. This would be incorrect. See that? Now we have a space between here, here, and here. Now take it off and then do it the correct way. These two are in line, and that's a correct half hitch. the very last thing you do after you are all comfortable in your slip. I'm happy with the way it is. I've been to the slip many, many times, so I know exactly how I like my lines. But if not, take your time, figure it out. Then we turn the motors off. We keep the motors on, guys, until the very last minute, because what if something happens? What if someone drops a line? What if the current starts ripping? You don't want to have that delay of time of getting your motors back on. Imagine if I went to grab the bow line and I didn't get a chance to tie it off to this cleat and the wind pushed me into the sailboat. That's why the motors turn off last, because Emily can bump one of the motors in forward or reverse to keep me away from the sailboat. So that's why the motors turn off after every line is attached. Thank you for watching, guys. We hope you found this helpful. We hope this helps you to back into your slips, gives you more confident when you're running your boat. Make sure you subscribe right here. Hit that button for us. Make sure you smash that like button. Thanks for watching, guys.